With UFC 279 behind us and probably one of the most controversial and weirdest cards in recent memory, if not ever, I'm curious what happens next. What does Dana White do with these fighters moving forward? And so that's what I'm going to do today, is I'm going to do my fantasy booking and what I'd do next if I was Dana White. So let's start with Nate Diaz, who got a submission win over Tony Ferguson. The problem with Nate is I don't think he quite knows what he wants, and I certainly don't know what he wants either. But he's obviously wants out of his UFC contract, and people kept asking him, like, oh, what do you think of your final fight in the UFC? And he said, this is not going to be my last fight in the UFC. He is adamant that he is going to return and wants to go and challenge at another sport first. And I don't know what that other sport would be. Obviously, it's not going to be tennis or baseball. I imagine he wants to do something like boxing. But the issue is, as good of a boxer as Nate is, I do not think he's a high enough level to be a professional boxer. And I don't want to see him fight like influencer boxers like Jake Paul and Logan Paul and all that kind of thing. It's just, that's not what I'm interested in. But where I think he would have a lot of success is bare knuckle fighting championship, where the sort of dirtier rule set, dirtier boxing rule set applies a lot more. He can work from the clinch. He can fight less experienced boxers as well. People like Julian Lane, MVP, and of course Mike Perry, which I think would be an excellent fight. And that's great for the promotion. Imagine if they had a main event with Mike Perry versus Nate Diaz. I think that would just sell so well, and that would build up Diaz's stock even more. And I think that's the goal. I think he's going to go out, do something interesting, do something unique, and then come back and have a final fight with Conor. And talking of having a fight with Conor, I think that would be the ideal fight for Tony Ferguson as well. It's obviously, I'd rather see Tony hang up the gloves now. I think a lot of us are fed up of seeing him getting beaten up. And, you know, he's really past his prime now. You know, I think he's 37, 38, and he's not got long left. To be honest, he didn't have long left a while ago. He should have finished. But I think he's the kind of guy who's going to keep fighting until his contract ends. So I think the best bet for him would be to fight Conor. Because not necessarily just for Tony, but for the promotion itself. You know, it's great for Conor to set up, does he want to fight for welterweight or lightweight? Because Tony Ferguson can do both now. It's a great payout for Tony, a fantastic final fight. Him and Conor can just go at it. Conor can probably get a win. They're both on losing streaks, and I think that's ideal. But it makes me sad talking about Tony, so let's move on to another fight and what I do next with Khamzat Chimaev. The problem with Khamzat is I don't think he can make welterweight anymore. I just don't think it's good for him and good for his health, and I do not think it's good for the promotion. He missed weight by over 8 pounds, and that's just not good enough. If you want to be a champion, you have to make championship weight, and he's not capable of doing that. You know, when he fought Li Jingliang, he really struggled to make weight, and, you know, he used the towel trick, and then obviously he went back and made the weight. And then when he fought Gilbert Burns, if you see the backstage footage, he's really, really struggling to get down to that weight. And I just think for his health, he should move up to middleweight. And the thing is, at middleweight, there is a lot of different fights for him and a lot of different options. But I think the best fight for him would be Paulo Costa. It's a challenge for both fighters. It'll show us what level he's at that division. And then he can push up for a title fairly quickly because Paulo Costa has just come off a win with Luke Rockhold, and he's really, really pecking up that top of that division and perhaps in shot for a title contention. And so if Khamzat Chimaev can come and take that title shot away from him, that'd be great. I don't know how Khamzat really fares against Izzy, because Izzy has some fantastic takedown defense and he's very tall, and if he can just keep Khamzat away with front kicks and just stay away from him as much as possible. But Izzy might not even be champion by then. You know, it could be Alex Pereira, who I think Khamzat will just destroy. But let's move on to Kevin Holland, a guy I genuinely feel really sorry for. You know, he was fighting up at middleweight, fighting tough wrestlers and getting battered by them. And he thought, right, okay, I'm going to move down to welterweight. And he was really having a lot of success there. And then the problem is, he literally took a last-minute fight against Khamzat Chimaev at middleweight and against one of the best wrestlers in the entire promotion. And to be honest, I don't think this loss should set Kevin Holland back, because he really does a lot of favours for the UFC. He jumped on this card literally last minute, and I feel like he should be rewarded for that in some way. And I'd like to see him get a nice middleweight fight, a fight that's reasonable to win, and someone who's got a fairly decent name. So for me, I think the fight to make is Kevin Holland versus Michael Pereira. I think he can push up into that top 15 ranking and then slowly make his way up. I think between those two, it'll be a really interesting, fun, dynamic striking match, because they both have such interesting styles. And that, for me, that's the fight to make. But now, with a heavy heart, we move to Li Jingliang, and I honestly just feel so bad for him with this card. He lost out on a massive fight with Tony Ferguson, a fight that he was almost guaranteed to win, and he could have got so much success from that, gained a lot of fans, got a notable win under his name, and really move up those welterweight rankings. But then he took this fight against Daniel Rodriguez at 10 pounds heavier than himself and essentially got robbed. Dana White thinks he got robbed. I think he got robbed. I mean, which is more important, me or Dana? You know, I'm the fantasy booker here, so my opinion matters more. And the trouble is, it's not fair. He doesn't deserve that. He should have come out of a win here, but he didn't, unfortunately. So I think the UFC should really, really reward Li Jingliang here. And maybe I'm just being biased, but I think they should give him a big name, someone in the top 10 of this welterweight division, really push him up there. And I think the best option for him would be Stephen Thompson. I think Stephen Thompson's got a great name. He's a high-level striker, and I think him and Li Jingliang would put on a fantastic bout. And then Lee would be rewarded. If he can get that win, it can really push him up there to that top 10 and really be in title contention. And I'm not saying he necessarily deserves a title shot or anything like that, but he deserves a lot. And I really, really hope Dana White and the UFC reward him. Thank you everyone for watching. If you can like, comment, and subscribe, it really does help us out.